What's good, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video featuring my sword. In today's video, I've recorded a podcast with my amazing aunt, Auntie Pat. She's been in a load of movies, TV shows, commercials, everything. She was just featured in the new show Clean Slate featuring George Wallace and Laverne Cox. I think that's how you say her name. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering it. I'm so sorry. So we talk a lot about that and a lot of her acting career. Now, unfortunately, typically when I record podcasts, I like to have a video version so you can kind of see us talking to each other, but my GoPro was recording on ×2 speed as opposed to like regular speed, so we were moving extremely fast, and I tried to slow the footage down, but it just didn't look organic. It looked nasty. So unfortunately, it's just the audio version with a picture of us up, so I need to be more mindful of that in the future, but I hope that you guys still listen and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy podcasts and stuff like this, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. So if you enjoy my other videos, consider subscribing to help show your support for the channel. This will be the third podcast on the channel. I've made 2 other podcasts in the past, so this will be the third podcast. So make sure to check it out. All right, enjoy. Hey everybody, it's Lauren and Auntie Pat here for the podcast with Pearl Robin on the side. And we are so happy to be able to present to you a podcast with Auntie Pat and myself here on this podcast. So we got the audio rolling and everything. Auntie Pat, it's 2025, right? Today's date is January 3rd, 2025. Let's talk about what is something that you don't want to take into 2025. And I don't mean necessarily in your personal life, but just in general. Let's say that there was a trend where everybody was dressing in polka dots and stripes, and you said, this has to end. I don't want to take it into 2024. What do you want to stay in 2024?
Does it have to be something that I'm doing or just something that other people in general?
Anything in the world.
Something I don't want to take into 2024 is
2025.
Oh, yes. Correction. Something I don't want to take into 2025. Everybody putting their personal business on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. We don't care. Don't put it on there. If you go to the bathroom, we don't care. They put it on Facebook. I don't care how many steaks you eat in a day. I don't care how many outfits you buy and wear on YouTube. I don't care about your YouTube channel. I'm not going to contribute to your monetizing. Get a life. Get a job.
Ooh, get a job. Auntie Pat, tell everybody, get a job. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, me on the other hand, I eat that tea up. If somebody's like, guys, I'm in trouble, I did this, I'm like, what'd you do, friend? What'd you do, twin? And they might post a part 1, and I'm over here in the comments talking about somebody tag me when they post a part 2. I'm eating that up all the way. So, post it, because I'm going to be watching.
That is a generational thing. At my age, I don't want my business out there, and I don't want to see anybody else's business, but these kids want to put everything out. If they break wind, they want to talk about it and demonstrate it.
What's breaking wind?
Fart.
Oh.
Oh. If they can catch it on video, they will, and they will post it. They want to put everything out there. My God.
I gotcha. And Auntie Pat, I forgot to ask you at the start of the video to do this, but give me like a little rundown of who you are, what you do, and all that cool stuff.
All right. I'm an actress. I always wanted to do it, knew I was meant to do it, but didn't have the courage and the motivation to do it. But when I became middle-aged, I decided to take some classes and do some plays and things locally, and that's how I got started. And I love it because that's what I was meant to do, and that's when I have the most fun. That's when I'm the most alive. When I'm the most happy, when I am on a set filming something. I really like commercials because a lot of times you don't have to say anything in a commercial, but you still get paid. And I will make more money filming a commercial that maybe take me 2 hours than I will filming a show that may take 8 hours for a day for a whole week. So I love commercials. That's my favorite thing to do.
Absolutely. And Auntie Pat, you've been in, what, 3 Golden Corral commercials now?
Yeah, 3 seasons.
3
Golden
seasons.
Corral commercials, 22, 23, 24 Golden Corral holiday commercials. And they always film several versions of that commercial. And they air all the different versions beginning on 1 November. And they normally run them through mid-January or something like that. But they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, that's incredible. 3 back-to-back Golden Corral commercials is awesome.
They liked me so much, they had me back again.
They sure
And
do.
then they asked me back again. I said, of course I will. We filmed in Miami, baby.
That's right, yeah. And Auntie Pat took, were you in Green Gables? Was that where that picture was from?
Oh, Coral Gables.
Coral Gables, because you were in that nice multicolored blouse, and the atmosphere just looked luxurious. And so they flew you out, right? And then they provided, it was Airbnb.
No, it was a hotel, actually.
Cool.
And they fly me out. They hire a car to take me to the Charlotte airport, because from Charlotte you can get direct flights, versus if you fly out of Columbia, you have to change flights in Atlanta. Nobody wants to do that. That's a horrible airport. So they hired a car to take me to the Charlotte airport. Flew to Miami, had a car waiting for me in Miami, a driver, and they took me. The first year they took me to the hotel and we filmed the next day. The second year they took me directly to the set because, believe it or not, there was a big storm in Charlotte Airport. Was backed up and I had to spend the night in Charlotte Airport, so I was a day behind. So, but normally what they do is and then this time we filmed back in March for the holiday commercials for 2024. And what we did, they had a car pick me up at home, take me to the Charlotte Airport. And I flew directly to Miami. They had a car in Miami for me, drove me to the set where we did wardrobe and aid and saw the set and all that stuff. And then they took me to the hotel, and the beautiful hotel in Coral Gables. Lovely place. I recommend it. And then the next day we filmed. And then the next day I flew back home. But it was a beautiful and a wonderful trip. I loved it, loved it, loved it. They treat you well. They feed you well. They pay you well, which is most important.
That is most important. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm sitting beside a superstar. And I know I said it once, but I'm going to say it again. But how many commercials and movies have you been cast in? Whether you've just stood there or whether you've said one word, how many would you say that is? Because like I said, the list is pretty extensive.
It might be about 100.
I was going to say at least 100, because I've seen the list of all your acting stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I was having to scroll. I was zooming in because the text was so big. The list was so big I had to zoom in to actually see the names, which is incredible. So Auntie Pat, incredible. It's absolute privilege to have her as my aunt here. Just incredible superstar, because you were in Thank you, because you were in the Army. You're commander in the Army, military, Army, commander in the Army for 22 years?
Yes. I wasn't a commander the whole time, but I was in the Army for 20 years. And then I retired from that, went to work for the state of South Carolina. And then at a certain point when the pandemic, and I was acting and working at the same time, but then when the pandemic hit, I said, okay, it's time for me to just focus on acting. And that's what I've been doing.
Okay, so you were acting and working until 2020.
Yes.
I thought you had stopped working, before I was born.
No. Mm-mm.
Wow.
I was in the Army, and then once I retired from the Army, I went to work for the state of South Carolina. So I still was working, but I was doing acting at the same time. And I made sure that I took jobs that had very little responsibility so that I could take off when I wanted to do my acting jobs.
That's right.
There's a quote from Denzel Washington that says, you do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do.
That's right.
And that's what I did.
That's right. And that's a great quote, because that reminds me, a lot of times in college now, I'll have a lot of homework I got to do, and they'll assign me it, boom, that week they give us 3 weeks to do it, and I'm already doing it, and then come 2 days before the assignment, still got my friends talking about, oh, what am I supposed to do for this? And I'm like, well, now I don't feel like opening up that canvas again to look. I don't even remember what I did. All I know is that I turned it in and mine's been done. So that's a great quote. And so
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Self-discipline is a wonderful trait to have. It will take you far in life.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you, Auntie Pat.
Self-motivated.
Absolutely. And so you, what did you do in your role when you're working for the state?
When I was working for the state, I worked in, the first job I had, I worked in emergency management, when there's a disaster that comes to wherever, hurricanes, tornado storms, we help the different counties in the state ahead of time prepare for those. And then we open up an emergency operations center at the state emergency management headquarters and provide support, like send supplies, coordinate with the federal, with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Division. They're a part of Homeland Security now, but we would coordinate the response and recovery after a hurricane, because a hurricane or whatever disaster it is, after a hurricane, of course, there's damage, and we have to provide shelters for people to go to if the home's destroyed and all that kind of stuff. And then the second job, I worked in the OSHA office, Occupational Safety and Health Office. There's a federal department of OSHA, and then most of the states have their own OSHA department. What they basically do is go out and inspect businesses, mostly manufacturing plants, for safety. Make sure they're not violating the federal safety standards. And if they are violating them, they will get fined by the state and or the federal government.
I was going to say, like, that's incredible that you're able to take off of those jobs to be able to do your acting, because those seem quite serious.
Yeah, they were, but my particular job, well, the first one for emergency management, that job kept me pretty busy. And I really didn't do any acting when I had that job. Well, I did some local plays, but that was pretty much it. But then once, when I worked for OSHA, then I had a low-level job, an administrative assistant type job, where it didn't matter. I didn't have a huge amount of responsibility, so I was able to get off pretty much when I wanted to. And my boss, who was younger than me, he was pretty cool. Let me take off. He let me take off a whole month to do a film, to do a TV series one time. He was real cool. But again, when you have a low-level job, you can take off and nobody really misses you. There's nothing earth-shattering that's going to happen while you're gone. So it worked out well. But when the pandemic happened, I was like, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
That's right. Absolutely, Santi. I'm really proud of you for being able to make that jump. And that is kind of a cool thing about having a job that you enjoy doing, but also one that doesn't require you to be CEO of X, Y, and Z. Even though we see CEOs on the golf course anyway, so that's a whole nother topic.
Oh, yeah, that's
But so important. But then they're in Dubai for 6 months and whatever. But that's not the point. But the thing is, that's the cool thing about having an organization where you have supportive people on your team and supportive management, because I'm 20 years old, I'm a junior in college, and it's just I've been able to, because I do an corporate internship while in school, but now that I'm on Christmas break at this current moment, I've just been able to take off. I'm like, hey, how many days do I want to take off from work? Oh, I want to take off 2 weeks. Hey boss, or manager, I'm going to take off this day to this day, and I'll resume then, and boom, we're good to go. So it's never really a big challenge. So it's great to have great management, great people, because it's just like a lot of my friends will be like, oh, I'm trying to get off one day, and it's and they're fighting with their managers to get off one day, and it's just I'm taking off, I think last year I took off 3.5 weeks. This year I'm taking off 3 weeks, and I'm I've taken off 2 or 3 weeks. I told them I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, But it's really cool to have great management, great people on your teams that you're able to, work flexible. And another thing that's been happening is remote work. Mm-hmm. So remote work's beginning a lot more popular. Prior to the pandemic, remote jobs weren't really a thing for corporate, but now it's just studies are proving that companies are as effective, if not more effective, doing remote work as opposed to being in office full time. I'm hybrid. I'm in office 2 days. Actually, I used to be in office 3 days a week, at home 2 times, but we switched it, so now it's at home 3 days a week, in office 2 times. And now that I've been working during the school year, I've only had to go in once a week. So it's pretty cool to split work from my bedroom. So,
and that organization that you work for is an excellent organization, because the atmosphere of freedom. Mm-hmm. It starts at the top. Mm-hmm. So if the CEO and the higher level executives mm-hmm. don't have a good work environment, haven't created good work environment for the employees, it shows. even at the lowest level. So that's, you might want to stick with them because that's good. Because
plan on
most
it.
people can't just take off work like that. I don't care where you work. It's very difficult
Yeah.
to do so.
Yeah.
And so that's good. That's a good company.
Absolutely. So it's about 6:48, and since we're going to leave at 7, let's take this podcast to about 6:55. And for the last little bit of this podcast, I am going to ask you some flash questions. Okay. Now, flash questions are questions where I ask and you got to give me an answer within 2-3 seconds. All right. So let me find some flash questions for you.
This should be fun.
That's right. So, Auntie Pat, I know you and I, we like to sit and ponder, but we got to spit out an answer. All right, ready? So, Auntie Pat, here's a juicy one. This is a fun question, really for people of my age group, because it's kind of fun to ask our friends this. Auntie Pat, who's your celebrity crush? This is what Google wants me to ask.
Oh, Morris Chestnut.
And these are called rapid fire questions. Sorry. Who's your rapid fire game? That's the right term. All right, who's your celebrity crush, Auntie Pat?
Morris Chestnut.
Fantastic. You're ahead of me because I'm trying to find more questions.
Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut.
I do not know who Morris Chestnut looks like.
You don't need to know. he's he's up to be your grandfather.
Ah, I see. Are you a motorcycle rider?
No.
Are you a voracious reader?
No.
I don't even know what that means.
Read a lot. I don't sound like your dad.
Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Do you enjoy riding bikes?
No.
Guys, I've tried to teach Auntie Pat to ride a bike, and oh my lord.
My God, it was a mega failure.
It was hilarious.
We probably got it on video somewhere.
Somewhere on I think an old disc from like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. What's your dream car?
Lexus. I'm not real fancy about Lexus.
Nice. Which pizza topping is your go-to?
Pepperoni.
What's your favorite food?
Spaghetti.
What's your favorite word?
Hello.
What's your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing about my job is it makes me happy.
That's most important. Are you a morning or a night person?
Night.
Me too. But you go to sleep at like 9 p.m., don't you? You were up.
You know what?
You were up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night because I came downstairs at 4 o'clock in the morning and you were typing away.
You know, it kind of depends. I really love staying up all night watching TV or binge watching something. However, the next day is not fun because trying to function the next day or sleep half the day the next day just throws everything off. But, once in a while it's a good thing to do because we can. Do it because you can.
That's right. Are you a dog or a cat person?
Neither.
You don't like dogs?
They're okay, but I wouldn't want to have a pet because you have to people who are dog owners or cat, well, especially dog owners, have to plan their lives around when their pet eats and has to go walking and all that stuff. They're nice to pet and look at, say, hey, but no, I wouldn't want to have one because it's too much work. And I like my freedom.
There you go. Because I was going to say, you remember Cookie, and I knew you liked her.
Yeah, Cookie was wonderful.
Absolutely. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Yes. Let's see here. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Let's see. What's the best advice you've received at work?
The best advice I've received at work, have fun.
There you go. Let's see. What one word do you want people to associate you with?
Talented. No, funny.
That's a good one. Yes, child, you crack me up. Let me tell you. Sometimes Auntie Pat will be telling me things, and I'm just having a laugh attack. And she's like so serious about what she's saying, and I'm just over there dying. What's your great?
I want to ride a pterodactyl.
Yes. Does anybody get that reference? Say it one more time.
I want to ride a pterodactyl.
Boom. That's from the Golden Corral commercial. That's right. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you haven't seen all 3 of them, go check it out. Let's see. What is your greatest strength?
My sense of humor, I think.
Definitely. If you're a vegetable, what vegetable would you be?
Broccoli.
Nice. If animals could talk, which one would be the funniest to have a conversation with?
A chimp.
Here's one I came up with off the top of my head. What's been your favorite commercial that you've done?
Golden Corral. I would have to say Golden Corral. I've had the most fun and the most freedom filming those, especially the one where they had me say, I want to ride a pterodactyl.
Let's go way back. I want to ride a pterodactyl. What?
What?
You tripping right now. I done sat at the wrong table again.
I didn't even know what a pterodactyl was. I had to look it up.
Yeah, it's like the dinosaur. I think it has like the wings. I feel like if I was gonna be a dinosaur, I'd be a pterodactyl. So real quick before we end the podcast here in about 3 minutes, let's talk real quick. Let's talk your Bermuda movie that you've done. Mm-hmm. So that's out on Amazon.
Yes.
Awesome. And then and what's the one where you were in the cake shop and you walked in?
Oh yeah, that's called the Royal Bake Off.
Royal Bake Off. Where is that streaming?
I think you can probably find it on Amazon, but I'm not absolutely positive. We filmed it in Savannah, Georgia. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So everybody make sure to check out. I mean, Auntie Pat has loads of films, loads of movies. So there's like 100 for you. I haven't seen them all, unfortunately, but there's a lot of stuff. But my favorites that you've done have to be the Golden Corral commercials that you've done, Bermuda, the Royal Bake Off, and
the Inspire commercial was a lot of fun as well, where I'm standing on the porch with binoculars.
Oh, with the lady and her husband. Mm-hmm. That one was really fun. That was a very funny commercial. So,
got one more announcement.
Yes.
February 5th or 6th, I have to double check. A sitcom that I filmed with George Wallace and some other stars in Savannah back in 2023 is finally going to be released. It's going to drop on Freevee, which is a part of Amazon, streaming on either February 6th, something like that, but I'll let you know the exact dates. And Norman Lear was one of the executive producers, and unfortunately he passed away, and so we filmed season 1, and with his estate being in flux and so forth, we're not sure if we're going to get to do a season 2, but that was a lot of fun. I really had a good time doing that.
Nice. So remind me, what's the name of that?
Clean Slate. It's about a car wash by the name Clean Slate, and one of the lead, George Wallace's character's last name is Slate, so he's the owner of the car wash, so it's called Clean Slate.
Cool. So Clean Slate sitcom. Releasing soon.
On Freevee.
On Freevee, so make sure to check it out. Hold on, Too Bad I said, if you ever get a chance to go on one of those food critic shows where they have all the chefs and all the people tasting food, you've got to go on it, Auntie Pat, because would you do it if they're like, we need one more person, 5 people total, one more person, and your agent's like, hey, this would be great for you. I mean, it's all real. Would you go on to it? And they'd be cooking a variety of different meals. I mean, it wouldn't just be steak. We don't know what it would be, but they would be tasked with different things.
If I could be a judge and judge on the appearance, but not the taste.
You'd have to taste.
I don't think so, because when I watch some of those shows and I see some of that awful food that the so-called chefs prepare, and they have to taste it. Some of it looks horrible, and some of it's undercooked. The judges will say that, and I wouldn't want to do that. It would probably make me throw up. No, I couldn't do it. If I could judge on appearance, oh, this plate looks appetizing. This plate looks pretty, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think I want to taste it, even if it was all desserts, because a lot of those chefs are rushing, and a lot of their food is just not cooked well, or it's overcooked, or they have these crazy, ridiculous ingredients that nobody wants to eat in them, but those poor judges have to eat them anyway and keep a straight face. No. But now, depending on how much they were going to pay, if they were going to pay like $1 million a show, I'd probably have to find a way to manage to get through that.
I was going to say, let's say that it'd be a season. How long is a season enacted? It'd be like a month or a year?
Well, you film it all at one time, so it'd be like probably... These days, it used to be 13 episodes, but nowadays it's a lot shorter. It may be 6 episodes or 7.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So let's say it's 7 episodes filmed over a month, and they were going to pay you, let's just say $100,000 per episode, and then for every time that it aired for the next 2 years, they would pay you $30,000 per every episode that it aired.
I would give it...
Because if you don't want to take it, I'll take the position. Give it to me. I'll taste everything.
I'll give it some thought. I'm not sure, but I would give it some thought.
I think that it would be really fun if you got offered that position. They need to make it they'll do you can do aunt, like it'd be like aunt and niece or like uncle and niece, uncle and nephew, aunt and nephew panel. So it'd be like you and I, and we'd be like one pair, and then there'd be like 4 other pairs of like aunts and nieces or duos. So it'd be like younger people like myself, like age, I don't know, let's say like 18 to 23, and then all of you guys, and then that would be super fun. And you and I, because I'd probably like a lot of the food, I'd be like, this is fantastic, this is delicious. Next, that's right, next round, boom. And Auntie Pat would be like, no way, Jose.
And and if I could just take a little teensy weensy bite and just judge it on taste and nothing else, I might do it. But if I had to take a whole spoonful, that might be difficult.
I'm sitting next to a superstar, everybody. We're going to go ahead and end this podcast. 6:55, perfect timing. About to go oh my goodness, about to go to a steakhouse. So we got to go. But thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Auntie Pat, thank you so much for being on this podcast. This was a load of fun.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for the humor. This was fantastic. And we'll catch you all in the next one. Peace and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.